And I think this guy's an elite striker. He's not that much of a wrestler, but he's a great striker. So, does any of that scare you?
No, none. Because here's the thing: Johns can take the fight wherever he wants it.
But who do you think would have won, in Gano versus Jones?
I'm going with Jones.
Okay.
Because here's the thing: the guys now they're talking about the GOAT. They might fight twice a year.
I'm on Mayweather.
I mean, I won't call it no names, okay? I ain't calling no names. I'm just saying.
What's up, y'all? So welcome to another episode of Heroes and Stuff Hit the Streets. We are back in Carrollton, Texas at HICKS MMA. Today I'm going to be interviewing Marcus Hicks. Again, Marcus Hicks at one point was one of the best lightweights in the country. He's won in an octagon in MMA. He's won in boxing. And he has won in jiu-jitsu. So he has classes for kids and adults, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. Anything else you want to say about your school?
I mean, we're friendly environment. But if you want to be serious, we can help you accomplish those goals also. Our biggest thing is we want you to be able to protect yourself. We just want to use martial arts we want to make good people.
And I tell you, this guy definitely helped me raise my son. Probably a little too much because now he's always trying to compete against me with everything. Is there a class in particular that's your favorite class?
I'd say my favorite class is my 8 to 12-year-olds, but my 5 to 7-year-olds, I got some special kids in there also. I love the ones that want to work hard. I'm all about that effort. As long as they got effort, we can achieve anything.
Okay. So if you want some very tactical, practical training, come check them out, Carrollton, Texas. All right, so the next fight we're going to talk about is Jon Jones' first fight at heavyweight versus Ciryl Gane. So I think they're about the same height, like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, give it to
Again, Jon has not competed in 3 years, right? He's coming back. In his last fight, in my opinion, didn't look great against Reyes. What I'm first going to ask you is, have you ever gotten into a fight or signed up for a fight after a long layoff? And if so, what goes through your mind knowing that you haven't competed in over a year?
I mean, some people believe that you got to take the ring rust off. Some people I think Jones has been preparing. I read in an article that he moved up to heavyweight because he had no more fear at that lightweight. Not having fear, people can say what they want to say, not having fear is a problem.
I'm about to say, yeah.
Because now you're not as sharp because you're not as worried. That fear is one of those things that I think you need going into fights. Far as, Jon Jones competing at, this new weight class, I mean, he got brothers in the NFL. So it ain't like he's some little guy. And, other than that one loss by DQ, he's unbeaten. Yeah. He done beat some of the greats and, did bad things to those guys. Made it look easy, some of them. I'm not saying what he does on outside the cage. I'm just strictly talking about what's going on inside the cage. He's the best at it.
So his last two fights, though, I think against Anthony Smith and the Reyes guy, I think in both of those fights were at light heavyweight. He didn't look like himself in those last two fights, even 3 or so years ago. Do you think does any of that worry you when he's going against this huge striker? And I think this guy's an elite striker. He's not that much of a wrestler, but he's a great striker. So does any of that scare you?
No, none. Because here's the thing, Johns can take the fight wherever he wants it. If he wants to take him down, he can take him down. If he wants to keep it standing, he's going to do enough where he doesn't get caught. More than likely, every time that guy steps in, he's going to do that kick to the knee. What happens? Now, next thing you know, that dude's not stepping on that front leg, and Jones starts doing what he does.
So do you think there might be a little bit of arrogance on Jones' side, being undefeated and going up in weight class and fighting people who he think is quicker than this Gane guy?
No, I think he's looking for a challenge, something that can excite him again. I mean, he's been doing this since he was a kid. It's probably like drinking water to that man now.
Now, he also said he needed the money. Well, he didn't say he needed the money. He said that he was not getting paid enough before, so that contributed to why he didn't compete all that time.
Well, I mean, the UFC has their own protocols, but what the guys got to remember, that's what you signed up for. You know, that's where you look at some of these guys. I think their agents or whoever's managing them is getting more money, you know, for their fighters so they can get more. But if you go in there and you just take that deal, it's a little bit different. You know, like I said, now Jones is going to be getting paid. That ain't gonna make him any hungrier. I think he wants to be. I think what's motivating him now is he's not that #1 pound for pound, and he's like, how can you say I'm not that guy? I've never lost. I've been doing this. I fought the elite competition, and you just gonna say I'm not that guy? So I think he has something he wants to prove.
So who do you have winning? And how do you see them winning? Keep in mind that Gane only lost to Francis and Gano, and that was mainly because he was grappling. He was grappling the guy. So who you got winning, and how do you think they're going to win?
Well, I mean, I felt like that last fight he had, they were teammates, so they knew, you know, they knew what it was. You know what I mean? I think the champion just decided, what? Let me do something that he's not expecting. Nobody threw him off. With this Jones fight, man, I don't know if that's a hard one, but I mean, I think Jones could take him down and finish him. Yeah. Or it's hard for me to say that Jones is going to knock him out.
Okay.
The dude is, like you said, an elite striker. You know, plus when you hit that weight division, if Jones make a mistake, you might get hit with something you ain't never been hit with before with that kind of power, and that changed the whole thing. He'll turn into a wrestler. I'm hoping Jones goes out there, puts him against the cage, make him uncomfortable, make him worry about taking down so he can change, make him not worry about striking. So
it sounds like Jones by decision?
Man, I want Jones by stoppage, but I'm going to say decision.
Okay. All right, and Francis and Gano left, right? But this is just a bonus question. I think it was originally supposed to be Ngannou and Jones. If that fight would have took place, just off the top of your head, I know you didn't do a whole lot of research on it because the dude left. Okay, but who do you think would have won, Ngannou versus Jones?
I'm going with Jones.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I can't go against Jones because he hasn't lost. And right now with this, here's the thing. When people take time off, it can do one or two things. It can either make you where you're not doing the work you need to do, but apparently Jones has been doing it because he done put on some size, you know, lifting houses and things. And I think he's hungry to prove that he's the best in the world, regardless of the weight. You know, with, how you say his name, the former champion? Yeah, with Francis, I think Jones most definitely had to worry about them hands. But guess what? Jones can take him, I believe Jones can take him down. So Jones has that extra card in his pocket. If this ain't going my way, you know, let me create another way to win. I do think that lead kick to the knee would have played a part in that fight too. I think, plus man, if Jones goes back to use those deadly elbows, I mean, he's got a arson. So I'm thinking, like I said, I'm not going to bet against Jones until somebody beat him. Then they have a rematch. I'm still going to bet on Jones next time.
So if he wins this fight or not, Jon Jones is the GOAT.
Well, if he loses this fight, no, he's not the GOAT.
Oh, really? If he loses, then he's not the GOAT anymore?
Here's the thing about fighting, and regardless of how people take it or don't take it, you're only as good as your last fight. And people they'll be there for you when you win in, love you, but something go wrong, they might not even know what it is. It don't matter. You lost. End of story. Okay. And that's just fighting. Now, as far as being the greatest of all time, I'm more or less basing it in the decades he's been fighting. I'm not talking before, because like maybe back in the day I thought Matt Hughes was the greatest of all time. Things have changed since then. Rules have changed. So I kind of feel like you need to judge each GOAT within the decade that they fought in. And Jones done fought in like what, at least two decades. So for 2 decades, those 2 decades should be his. You know, you got boxing.
You old school. I'm surprised you didn't just say the old school guy's the GOAT.
No, I can't say that. I can't. Well, because the thing is, like, even when you talk about boxing, you go back and you got dudes that's got 200 wins.
What?
You know, one dude had 180 wins before he ever lost.
Yeah. And I know people kind of overlook Chavez when they talk about the GOAT. How many wins did he have? Like 90?
Yes. You know, I mean, it was way up there. So you got dudes that have more fights, and those guys were fighting more frequently back then. They were fighting every weekend. You know, the guys now they're talking about the GOAT, they might fight twice a year.
Come on, Mayweather.
I mean, I won't call it no names, okay? I ain't calling no names. I'm just saying.
All right, so do y'all agree with Coach on who's going to win between Jones and Gaines? He said Jones by decision, more than likely, or TKO.
Or ground and pound.
And who do y'all think is the MMA GOAT? Also comment below. Thank y'all for watching.